Hello and welcome to the Good Old Days, our program focusing on the history of Raynham. Our host is retired Selectman Don McKinnon and Pat Riley, and we have a special guest today, Don.
Michael King, who is the tax collector / treasurer.
Yes.
In church once a year, the priest will talk about tax collectors, of which we always have a treasurer in there, sort of like Barbara Gallagher or somebody being uncomfortable. But basically, tax collectors are popular people. Now it's appointed, I believe, Michael, is it not?
That is correct.
Yes, but for years it was elected. And it always came in either tops or just below town clerk. Those are the two most popular positions, though. Pat, I'm sorry to tell you. Now, once in a while,
Although last year,
yeah, I forgot to say it, and Pat topped the ticket the last time, probably when I was on
it
it.
was just a fluke, I'm sure.
No, she got more votes than me.
But Michael is our treasurer tax collector for the town of Raynham.
That's right.
As you said, used to be elected, now it's an appointed position. And before we talk to him too much, Don, as we mentioned, people say good old days. Michael's brand new to town, but we also, in addition to talking about the history, we talk about today's present current events, because that will be tomorrow's history.
And that's true, and that's why we have the elder, and we have Mrs. Roberts, Kathleen Roberts, and then we had Molly Karen on, who was 18
right.
at the time. So she's 20 now, but we try to do both so that these are the good old days, or those were the good old days, one or the other. These are the good old days, Mike. In case you wonder where you fall in this master plan of ours, because we didn't know you, but we will now. We'll get to know you. And that'll work out. Pat, do you want to go over the
We can talk about that at the end.
later on, we'll catch that at the end. Michael, some of your history. You went to Coyle. Now, I told you my grandson's there now.
Yes.
And many people from Raynham, Taunton, go to Coyle. When I was younger, or my wife was younger, I wasn't down here at that time, but she was, a lot of the people to Coyle came from Stoughton.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
And Brockton to Coyle. And then, of course, it got off. Now it's mostly people from here. What town did you went to Coyle?
I went to Coyle, yes.
And what town did you live in when you went, or city?
Raynham.
Oh, you lived.
Yeah, my family
You're
moved
a
to
wee.
Raynham.
He's a wee, Pat. Oh, your family's been way back then.
No, I'm not part of that King family.
Nor are they.
Not one of the original Kings.
Because the chief came on board. He came from Winthrop, Mass.
Okay.
Peter King. And then in the 1970s, basically, he became a patrolman and then lieutenant and then chief. And that's the history of that. And of course, Linda went to work for different departments as the years went by and eventually obtained the position she held.
Did
So
you go to
Coyle.
elementary school in Raynham?
No, I went to all parochial schools.
Okay, but you were living in Raynham at the time?
Yep, so my family
Okay.
moved to Raynham from Bridgewater when I was 5.
All right.
And then did you go to St. Mary's then?
I went to St. Mary's, I went to Taunton Catholic Middle School,
Wow.
and then eventually matriculated to Coyle
The
and
first
Cassidy.
question is, why aren't you a priest? What's going on here? Where's the recruiting system going down?
And once you graduated from Coyle, tell us what happened at that point.
I went to Bryant University.
Now, Bryant basically is a business and accounting, but you were a business major?
No, actually, I was in the liberal arts school and I minored in business.
Okay. Because in the old days, Bryant was an accounting 2-year school back.
Yeah, now it's a 4-year university
Now
with
it's
both
4
a
years.
College of Business
It's
and
a very
College
good
of Liberal
school,
Arts.
as you will attest to, I'm sure.
Absolutely. It's up and coming as well. They want to be the next BC of Rhode Island type of thing.
Yeah. Can you get on the board of trustees and wield some power, or no?
Oh, well, give me some time in this office first.
And you graduated with a degree in
Actually, history.
history.
History, and then I minored in business administration, sociology, and then I also had a minor in political science as well.
Did you know what area you wanted it to go into as far as a career at that point?
I was actually thinking about being a college professor.
Okay.
See, it sounds like a teacher degree, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Your credentials. but you went another route. Did you? I know you worked for the senator, but we'll get to that. But what was before the senator, or did senator right out of college?
Well, in high school and college, I worked at Market Basket in Raynham.
Really?
Yeah.
You were the one that spoke English. I remember you.
Yeah, that was me in the produce department.
All right.
And when my original plan was to go to graduate school,
Yes.
and
I think you did get a master's.
I
you
did
not?
get a master's at UMass Boston.
Okay.
But
Well, that's a
right
little bit
when
of
I
a trek. Did you live in, or did you commute?
oh, I commuted. They don't even have dorms.
Did
there.
you drive in or take the classic bus?
Oh, I drove in.
Drove in.
Yeah.
And where, is there a parking space for UMass Boston?
There used to be a lot more parking than there is now
Yeah.
because they're currently building their first dormitories.
Right, right.
But that's
So was that a
summer.
1 or a 2 year?
It was a 2-year program if you went full-time. I went part-time, so it was a 3-year program
3-year
for me.
program.
So I did it in 3 years.
And out of college then, would you have done that nights, basically? You,
I did at nights,
Yeah, okay,
correct.
the master, that's what I was thinking, the master's wasn't a day program. So being a night program, were you working Market Basket at the time?
I was actually working for the senator at that point
Okay, now that's.
when I went into
yeah.
grad school.
And let the minutes show that Michael was employed as a aide to Senator Kennedy, State Senator
Correct.
Kennedy from Brockton. Now, the irony is, and you know this because you're a Raynhamite, Raynham is tied to Taunton, whereas Bridgewater is tied to Brockton. That's the connections there. Of course, Brockton was part of Bridgewater. It was like the Oakland section in Taunton. That's what it was. So we down this area don't know that much. I don't, Pat. You may know. Do you know that much about Senator Kennedy from
No,
Brockton?
not really.
No. So we don't know that much about Senator Kennedy, state senator. He was disabled, I believe.
He was a quadriplegic.
Really?
Yeah, he was injured when he was about 19, 20 years old. He was actually in the seminary at the time,
Wow.
And-
See, you Catholics.
and he was washing windows, and apparently haste makes waste, as he used to say, and he fell out.
Wow.
And from that point
Wow,
forward, he was a
that's awful.
quadriplegic.
How did you happen to connect to start working for him, Michael?
So the summer when I graduated from Bryant University, I was hanging out over my, at the time, girlfriend's house, now fiance, and her brother was working for him.
Okay.
And there just happened to be an opening in the office, and he asked if I would like to apply, and I did, and that was history from there.
Yeah. You know Joe Pacheco, who worked with the dean,
Yes.
David Flynn, for
Oh, yes.
many years. So there's a connection there.
Yeah,
And,
there is that State House connection.
What did your work entail? Was it district office, or did you work at the State House, or?
Well, tell you the truth, I sort of worked my way up.
Okay.
My early days, I was a driver. Senator Kennedy, being a quadriplegic, could not get to events on his own.
Sure.
So that was, very intensive, going from event to event, working out of the house, working out of Boston. And then I slowly transitioned into the Boston office, working at the State House full-time. There I started as a district director, so working with school committees, local organizations, finding out what the issues are, then trying to see what we could do on the state level to address or at least alleviate some of those problems.
Sure.
How many aides did he have as a state senator?
Well, Senator Kennedy was in the legislature for about 30 years.
And he was, I use the term, a ranking member. He was, his
I
position was
I think that would be fair.
highly ranked.
He was in the House for 25 before he moved on to the Senate in 2009.
Really?
So really, not that long, though, as
He w-
senator. Yeah.
No, he loved the House. It's a
Yeah.
different animal than the
As
Senate.
did the dean. You know, the dean, I don't
Yeah.
think ever cared to go to the Senate. I don't believe so. Yeah.
There's a lot of good camaraderie in the House part of the legislature.
You enjoyed that work, I
I did.
suspect.
It was very interesting, and was one of the reasons why when I graduated from UMass Boston, I decided to stay on.
So you might have kind of been in Boston anyway. In other words, your work probably took you into Boston. So
Yeah.
Mass is really not. It's a little bit the outskirts. Is it over near the Kennedy Library?
Yeah, it's Dorchester at Columbia Point.
Okay. Okay.
Now, from that point, did you come to the Raynham position, or was there another
I
job in
think it was on
between?
Finance Committee, Pat.
Okay.
For when would you?
So when I started working for Senator Kennedy, Gil Aligi, who's a family friend, who's chairman of the Finance Committee,
Right. You drafted.
drafted me
That happened.
to become a member of the Finance Committee, in which I served until I took on this position and I had to resign.
And now there's an opening.
There's always,
Yes, there is.
there was a time they waited in line to get on the Finance Committee. It's very challenging, really, it is.
It's been tough to fill the 7-member seats.
That's right. Where are they now? Do you happen to know? Are they 6 or?
I believe they're at 6.
Yeah, so they still have one opening to go.
Yeah, well, they were filling Karen Roberts' seat when she left.
Right, right.
And
It's not the easiest position to fill, because you've got to be good with numbers. And there are
Sure.
people, I always say, if you're good with numbers, if you're a math teacher, you go right to heaven. You do not pass goal, because teaching kids math, because it's a God gift, math. It's like spelling. You either can do it or you can't. And so they come to you. Did numbers come easy to you, or was it a challenge?
Well, I would say one of the things that really helped me was, it was sort of reciprocal, because the Finance Committee, and then at the same time, I started working as Senator Kennedy's budget director.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
looking at line items on the state level, and I'm looking at the municipal level. And everything just started to mesh for me
Yeah.
after a while. And I feel like it was a very good, seeing both was a great preparation for the job I have now. Finance Committee is a great group of guys on it
Did they
right now,
assign
and
you
girls.
to a, didn't they, or did they?
So I was a liaison, and they usually change it every year. So the idea was that as people, eventually there's going to be some turnover, and they didn't want you working with the same department over and over again. They wanted you to have some familiarity.
Right.
But when I left, I was currently working with the fire department.
How long were you on the Finance Committee?
3
Michael?
years.
3 years. So you got to find out a lot about the town of Raynham
I did.
by serving there.
I did, and it made me feel comfortable applying for the job that I currently hold.
Right. And you're working with Linda. Is Linda still there, or?
She is on part-time on a consulting basis.
Right, right.
She wants to make sure that when I want to say the torch has already been passed on,
Right.
but just to make sure that there's a smooth transition, I should say.
Absolutely.
Right, right.
So give us an idea of what your job now entails.
Okay. So, tax collector, that part is rather straightforward, collecting real estate, excise taxes. People may have noticed that their excise tax bills recently came to them in the mail. Those are due March 16th. And we also have fourth quarter real estate tax bills, which are going to be due May 1st. Treasurer side, that has also an aspect of HR. So I do human resources for the town, and I also do tax title. And in addition to that, paying the bills.
Now, how many people do you have working in the office with you?
Right now, we have 3 full-time equivalent employees, including an assistant treasurer collector, Patricia Ellis.
Within Linda King's time, they were separate.
Yes.
Yes.
There was one office was for Linda, I believe, was the treasurer. And then I think Barbara Gallagher was one of those,
Tax collector for...
was the tax collector for many years, yeah.
But obviously, they do seem to mesh well.
Yeah, and especially if you're the tax collector, you're turning over the money to the treasurer. You're cutting out a step. And if someone is not paying their taxes, it gets put into tax title. When properties go into tax title, they transfer from the hands of the tax collector to the treasurer. So it just made everything a little bit smoother of a process and transition.
So the point is, though, that when someone doesn't pay taxes, that's when the bad news starts. There is an individual, isn't there, that gets that one, isn't there one fellow basically that specializes, not you, but isn't that assigned to someone who collects the taxes, or else,
Well,
where does that go?
Do you have somebody,
We have-
like
we-
a collection agency that
we
you
have a
work
deputy
with?
collector.
That's what I
Okay.
meant, yeah.
And that's for the past due taxes. And he only takes bank check or cash. And that's a misconception when a lot of people come in. They try and pay with a personal check
Yeah.
on these past due, and we cannot accept that. Also, many people try and use a debit or credit card at the window, and that needs to be done online.
Okay.
The town really doesn't like to deal with the credit card, don't they? Because that costs. Are you hooked up though to take a credit card?
Not in town hall,
Yeah.
but you can go online and pay with a credit or debit card.
See, the old folks like me don't know how to do that anyway. So
Well, it always seems kind of strange. You send your taxes into Boston to pay back in
Yes.
Raynham.
I know, I know.
Yeah. How much of the business is actually done now by people mailing it through into Boston instead of actually coming into the office? I suspect it's probably a lot less than it had been in the past. Is
Yeah.
more and more people using the mail-in option?
I think it's a little tough for me to discern,
Yeah.
seeing that I'm new to working in the
Right,
office, but
right.
we do have quite a few people that come
Still
in,
come
and
in, yeah.
we sent out the excise tax bills on a Friday, and come Monday, it was quite busy.
Sure.
The old timers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the most difficult part of your position, do you think? I mean, obviously you're new to it, so it's just kind of
Yeah.
acquaint yourself with everything, but
I would just say that trying to get a solid footing on what's been done in the past, because you have procedures and policies in place, and they might have worked great, but there's always room for improvement. So trying to see what's been done, what's worked well, and what maybe we can improve on.
are there a lot of regulations, state regulations, that you have to be familiar with?
Oh yes,
Okay.
and I learn more and more of them every day.
Yeah. And those have a tendency to change from time to time, too, so it's something you always have to keep up.
They do, and there's actually a large piece of omnibus municipal legislation that Governor Baker recently put forward that I know a lot of people in the treasurer-collector community are watching closely.
Screaming at this point. People don't always appreciate change,
No,
even though
no,
if it's for the best in the end. But change is always difficult.
But Senator Kennedy, then he passed within the last 2 or 1 year, because Dean David Flynn. He's passed within the last 6 months, I'd
Yeah.
say.
So
But
Senator
I think
Kennedy-
Senator Kennedy passed before that. I believe.
This past June 28th.
Really.
Oh, that's not that long ago.
No, it was not.
Right.
What did you learn from him, working with him on a one-on-one basis, Michael?
Well, he was just an amazing person, as you can imagine. Someone who did not let his disability hold him back in the least bit. He woke up every day, helped his constituents, did his job well beyond the best of his ability. And, it was just an amazing experience working with him. I have the utmost respect for his legacy. The hard work, attention to detail, and just caring about the average person, the person who comes before you with an issue. And that's something that I'm hoping to bring forward when people come to me as the tax collector. Go forward, put my best foot forward, and obviously try to balance the best interests of the town, but have an open ear as well.
Yeah, I would imagine that experience with constituent services will serve you well in your position now, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. When people usually call their state elected official, it's because they've gone through the normal channels and did not get what they were looking for. So,
Now they call you for results.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And people expect results when they come to this office as well.
What if someone gets their tax bill or whatever and they think there's a mistake? What
On the
can they
valuation,
do on the valuation
Did
or?
that go back
Yeah.
over to
that would be the
the
assessor's office.
Yeah,
That's
but do they
correct.
deal through you at all? Because I know there was an individual who came and his taxes went up. I'm not talking 100-200. I'm talking lots of many hundreds of dollars, and I couldn't believe it because nothing's happened. It's the same house he had this time last year. How did it go up that high? Now, I know he probably has to go in Boston and appeal or something like that, but it doesn't start through your office at all. Not your problem.
The assessors tell us what to collect, and we collect it.
Yeah,
So, in other words, pass the thing to them. Yeah.
not your job in your job description.
No, and we also don't give out the abatements. The assessors do as well.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, then doesn't it come through you though originally if I get an automobile I'm buying during the year and I've already paid my taxes and does that go over to the assessor's office to get an abatement or?
If you
No,
purchase
with
a new automobile
Yeah, and then
during
there's
the year.
another, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I'll say this because this might be relevant for some people. People who put their car on the road at the end of 2015 would actually be receiving 2 excise tax bills right now. They'd be receiving the balance for what they would have paid for the tax on their car for the last few months of 2015, then they're paying for the entire year of 2016. So they'll be receiving 2 bills.
It's the only pleasure I get from my car growing old is the fact that I love to watch that excise tax go down, because it starts rather high when you run
Yes.
I usually buy new automobiles, but now I don't. I just watch, and my last tax bill, excise was like 80 on one and 50 on the other. That's pretty good, because I've had it the other way.
Now, we coincidentally at school committee just appointed a new treasurer for the school district, because
Oh.
the former one had just resigned. So does your work as treasurer also involve investment of funds, that sort of thing?
It does.
So that's a really important thing, because that can make a real difference on savings for the town.
It does. Myself as a treasurer, we're looking at 2 things. We're looking at liquidity, being able to have the cash on hand when we need it, but you're also trying to balance yield. So you might see some CDs out there that offer some high yield, but you don't want to take a hit if you withdraw that money early. We're also looking at the safety. So, and there's laws that govern how a treasurer can invest the funds, but safety, liquidity, and yield, those are the 3 things that guide us.
And that all factors into what the town's bond rating is and so forth, which can end up saving the town a lot of money too if you have a really good rating.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the main things that usually bond companies would look at would be the funding of the pension system. Are you fully funded? Are you close to being fully funded? And the money in the stabilization account. Or what people sometimes refer to as a rainy day fund.
Yes.
And if a catastrophe happens, a financial problem, what are you able to draw off of that?
Oh, the bottom line is, Don, there's a lot involved.
I think there is.
It's not just collecting payments.
It's a challenge,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Definitely.
And I'm enjoying it.
Do you ever look back on those days and wish you were still doing that, or are you adjusted to your change in, this was sudden. Was he ill for a long period of time?
Well, he was in the hospital for pneumonia at the time, and it sort of caught us all by surprise when he did pass away. We knew he was in the
That's
hospital.
what I meant.
Yeah.
So his staff really wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah, we were sort of thrown into a whirlwind,
Yeah.
I would say, and I ended up being picked up by his successor. I know we talked about before the show, Michael Brady, and
Was Michael Brady what we call his chief aide, or was he?
Michael Brady was actually the state representative for Brockton,
Oh,
so he made
wow.
the jump.
Oh, okay. But he didn't work then for the senator.
No, he
Well,
did not.
I thought they listed him as a former aide or something like that.
No, but one of the former aides that I worked with, Jerry Cassidy, is the Democratic nominee for
For representative.
for Brockton
Oh,
to
okay.
fill
Musical chairs? would
Yeah,
you
to
call
fill
that,
Brady's
Michael?
seat. So yeah, there's always a lot of moving and shaking.
You got
going
more
around.
connections in Brockton than you do in Raynham.
You know, though, I think, though, Don, with Michael's background experience, I think he would be a really good one of our VIP readers for Read Across America Week.
Well, we're going to draft him anyway.
I
whether
think we're
he-
going to draft
yeah.
him, yes.
Whether we get
Because
him or
next
not.
week is Read Across America Week in the town of Raynham. The selectmen, as you had
And
done
let
when
me-
you were selectmen, proclaimed next week Read Across America Week in the town of Raynham. They donned their tall cat-in-the-hat hats to proclaim that for us. It's actually the 19th year that we're celebrating this, believe
But
it or not,
Michael will
Don.
not have to wear that hat.
He doesn't have to wear the hat because if he
optional.
doesn't want, it's optional, especially at the
that's-
middle school
That's
level.
for photo ops, too. Kathleen
Right.
Roberts wears it anyway.
Absolutely.
Kathleen Roberts, who is 101, has the cat in the hat
costume.
Costume.
She's like the official
So
cat in the hat
she wears
for
the
us.
total costume
Oh,
when
wow.
she does the readings. Yeah.
But she was there with us Tuesday night
That's
for
right.
the proclamation, and she
And
will
we'll just
be
show,
with us
this is,
next week. And
I
that's
always believe, the Lorex is, I'm telling you, reading Dr. Seuss is worse than trying to read the Bible, of which,
I love Dr. Seuss.
what's the guy's name? What's his name? Troop or Trump, whatever his name is. Trump was trying to read to the what do they call those Bible Belt people? No disrespect, but he was trying to read to
Evangelical
them out
group.
there, and it sounded like Forrest Gump reads Bible, and it was funny. It just shows. And Michael, you've watched the election because you're in the game field watching the way they go.
I try and watch it closely, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying, I listened to those Bible Belt people afterwards who demand that everything's right down the line. And you got a guy up there reading all the Colossians or whatever they were, you know what I'm saying? And they still like him. And I says, boy, it just shows you. The voter is a very interesting individual. But so reading this, by the way, we want to draft him this year. Maybe we'll get him
No,
next year.
actually, I have a couple open spaces.
Oh, Michael, did you know that when you came here?
I did not.
So I'm thinking, as they're sitting here, this should be
There was
good.
2 reasons I was invited here today. Okay.
Really?
No, this was the reason you were invited.
But we will be visiting all classes in kindergarten through grade 8 in our 3 Raynham schools and bringing in VIP readers. Mr. McKinnon has done it for us from the beginning.
We've had
reading Dr. Seuss stories.
Gil signed up. I don't know whether
Mr.
Gil has
Santos,
time.
Gil Santos will be,
the voice of the Patriot.
will be visiting
He
here
reads
at the middle
to an
school.
auditorium full usually.
He reads to the 6th grade, the entire 6th grade class. I think, Dawn, you are reading to 7th grade, a couple of 7th grade classes this year.
I'm reading Wednesday,
you're
Thursday,
doing Wednesday,
Friday.
Thursday,
How's
and Friday, I know.
I'm going to 3 different schools. and
4th
3 different
grade
days.
on,
I should get a cot and just go lay down and get comfortable.
But you know, it's a great opportunity to bring special guests into the communities and impress on the kids how important.
Sometimes we
you know,
get
reading
a
is.
representative. Sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Representative D'Amelia is coming. I'm not sure about
Angelo.
Senator Pacheco yet. I haven't heard back, but Representative D'Amelia definitely is coming, and we have our selectmen all participating.
All of the selectmen, right? They all come in. Karen can make it too
Oh,
because she has
we're
pretty work schedule.
Right, we're trying to set that up, so
And
we're working
Joey,
on that one. But
and Marie Smith.
Mr. Pacheco is signed up, so it'll be a great time. And
This is all connected here too. You'll find out, Michael, that it's like when you mention someone's name and everyone in the town's related. Like I always say, Mark Pacheco was only related to 1/3 of the town. That's all. But they have a connection with the other third. So if you think you're going to go against a Mark Pacheco, and Joey Pacheco, he's related to half the town. So the people that do the reading in this, every year we end up with pretty much the same people.
yeah, and we
who
get
do
a
it.
lot of retired teachers because
We do.
originally it was an initiative of the National Education Association. Back in 1998 when it started. 19 years. Can you believe that, Don?
Yeah.
How time flies. It's all part of our RAVE organization. Living in Raynham, you may have heard about RAVE, our Raynham Association.
And the same
of
people, as we say,
Volunteers
Pat is
for Education.
on the rave. What's your title this week?
I'm president.
President. And then she's also vice chair of the cable company.
Oh, secretary.
Secretary.
Yeah.
And then she's, well, no, we'll just go on
Enough.
with the board. Well, never mind.
Anyway, so that's great. We're kind of clock's ticking
Right,
away
Michael,
here,
thank
Don,
you very much,
know?
and maybe we can sign you up. I don't know whether Pat's put enough muscle into this thing.
All right.
Oh, I think definitely.
Well, I would just like to say as well, I'm a member of the Raynham Lions Club here in town, and they
That could
recently
be another
made
future show.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, they recently made me their new membership chair, so we are looking for members.
Oh,
And
very good.
any viewers at home, if you're interested, we'd love to have you over on King Philip Street, across from the gazebo.
Yeah, years ago, I worked with the Lions to get that building, and in lieu of rent, they repair and they do things like that. And the Lions Club, I've said straight out, I believe they're the best organization in the town of Raynham. Anything that's done, they will chip in on it. They will work with it.
They're a great group.
Just beyond, yeah. And so I've been associated, I'm not a member, but I've been associated with the Lions Club for many years, and they've got some great members. And you have membership drives, because that would be one of the ways.
Yeah, we meet first 3 Thursdays of the month,
Okay.
7 o'clock over at the club.
And so new members are welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming in,
Very
Michael.
good. And you're,
I appreciate
well, we're out of time, but thank you very much. Our special guest today, Michael King, our new treasurer tax collector. Thank you, Dawn. We'll see all of you here on our next episode of The Good Old Days.